Medium-chain triglycerides, commonly known as MCTs, refer to fats classified by their carbon chain length rather than a single specific substance. While standard dietary fats found in foods like butter, olive oil, and nuts are longer chains containing 14 to 24 carbons, medium-chain fats are much shorter, consisting of only 6 to 12 carbons. This structural difference completely alters how the body processes them. Instead of being slowly routed through the lymph system like long-chain fats, MCTs are absorbed directly into the portal vein. This creates a direct pipeline from the gut straight to the liver, where they arrive within minutes and are partially converted into ketones to serve as an alternative energy source for the brain and muscles. Common misconception is that achieving this metabolic shift requires strict fasting or a rigid ketogenic diet. However, scientific literature, such as a crossover study published in Frontiers in Nutrition, demonstrates that caprylic acid can successfully elevate blood ketones even when consumed alongside carbohydrates. This means individuals can activate their body's alternative fuel pathway without extreme food restriction. Even so, the specific type of oil chosen makes a massive difference in results. Commercial MCT oils are a family of different carbon lengths, where C8 or caprylic acid is the most effective at raising ketones, C10 is moderate, and C12 or lauric acid behaves nearly identical to regular long-chain fats with virtually no impact on ketone levels. Because lauric acid is significantly cheaper to manufacture, many store brands rely heavily on it. Checking labels carefully is crucial. Shoppers should look explicitly for products leading with C8 or caprylic acid and avoid those based primarily on lauric acid or coconut oil. Implementing MCT oil safely requires a deliberate approach to dosage timing, preparation to avoid unpleasant side effects. Jumping straight into a full tablespoon often triggers digestive distress, including cramping, bloating, and urgent trips to the restroom. To prevent this, experts recommend starting with just 1 teaspoon daily for the first week to let the digestive system adapt, then slowly increasing the intake up to a maximum ceiling of 1 tablespoon. Preparation method also matters significantly. Simply stirring the oil into hot coffee with a spoon results in rapid separation, leaving a layer of pure oil floating at the top. Using a small handheld frother or a blender for about 15 seconds emulsifies the liquid into a smooth, creamy texture. Timing-wise, consuming it first thing in the morning before eating works best to maximize ketone production before introducing other foods. Furthermore, because a tablespoon contains roughly 100 to 120 calories, it should be treated as a direct swap, replacing existing fats in the diet rather than an extra addition, ensuring daily caloric intake remains balanced. Finally, individuals managing liver disease, type 1 diabetes, or those taking medications that lower blood sugar should consult a healthcare provider before introducing MCT oil into their daily routine. To fully understand how these fats function inside the body, it helps to look at how human metabolism changes as people age. After about the age of 60, the body primarily relies on 2 fuel lines, sugar and fat. Every time someone eats throughout the day, glucose and insulin levels rise, and insulin signals cells to ignore stored fat because a continuous supply of sugar is present. This constant cycle leaves the second fuel line, the one running on fat, largely unused, even though the liver remains fully capable of turning fat into ketones when necessary. While older muscle experiences a drop in oxidative capacity, research shows that most of the cellular engines, or mitochondria, remain intact inside the tissue, meaning they can still utilize an alternative fuel source if it is provided. Looking closer at the science behind the health claims associated with MCT oil reveals a mixture of genuine mechanisms, preliminary animal research, and exaggerated marketing pitches. For instance, weight loss studies show modest results when swapping other dietary fats for MCT oil, with multi-week trials observing a small average reduction in body weight rather than dramatic overnight transformations. Regarding cellular repair, laboratory studies on mice have explored how ketones interact with intestinal stem cells to help maintain tissue lining populations. But these mechanisms require concentrations much higher than what a single spoonful of oil in coffee can produce in humans. Similarly, while historical observations noted that cancer cells consume glucose at high rates, utilizing ketogenic approaches as a primary cancer treatment lacks sufficient human survival data, meaning the oil should be viewed strictly as a metabolic supplement rather than a medical cure. Beyond weight and metabolism, other clinical trials involving older adults have pointed toward potential improvements in physical function and movement speed, highlighting that the real benefits relate more to functional daily strength and metabolic flexibility than miracle cures. When incorporating this routine into a daily schedule, understanding the practical details ensures a much smoother experience. The oil itself is completely clear and virtually flavorless when blended properly, making it exceptionally easy to mix into morning beverages without altering the taste. For individuals who prefer not to drink coffee, the oil can just as easily be blended into hot tea, warm bone broth, or even incorporated into a morning smoothie, provided it is thoroughly emulsified so it does not separate. Consistency plays a major role in how the body adapts, which is why keeping a steady daily routine for at least 2 to 3 weeks is recommended before evaluating how it affects morning energy levels, and appetite control. Beyond the initial adjustment period, many users report feeling a noticeable stabilization in their morning focus and a reduction in mid-morning cravings, largely because the liver is actively producing a steady stream of alternative energy. However, it remains vital to keep expectations grounded in reality. Body composition changes associated with MCT oil happen gradually over the course of weeks and months rather than days, and they depend entirely on maintaining an overall balanced diet. Treating the oil as a mindful substitution for heavier cooking oils or butter, rather than an uncounted extra source of calories, allows individuals to reap the metabolic rewards without inadvertently stalling their health goals.